Alright, so what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jano Garage. It has been a minute since I've filmed last yet again, and as you can see, I have made a lot of progress on the LS build, which just so happens to be not very popular on this channel, which is not a big deal. I'm mainly filming this for, I guess, history purposes of myself and this car. I have added split bumpers to the car, and I also added 2 new front turn signals. I don't know if I told you guys that already or not, but anyways, I also ended up finishing the main assembly of the LS, and I also got some headers. These are just real block hugger shorty headers, or I guess they're kind of mid-length headers. The main reason I got these headers is because it came with a V-band style connection to the end of the header, and then it also has O2 bungs on both header outlets. So that's going to work out perfectly hooking up to the dual exhaust that I already have. I also managed to get the water pump on, polished timing cover. I've got an ICT billet polished valley pan. Let's see, I got the flywheel. So far, as of today, the main things I need to do is I need to tighten my engine mounts from the small block mount to the frame mount. And I also am running into a clearance issue. You cannot see it from up here. When I get under the car, I'll be sure to show you guys. It is where the exhaust and the V-band clamp and everything is so tight up against the block that the outer ears of the transmission is actually in the way. It has no structural effect on the transmission. I've done a lot of research on it before making my choice on this, and I for sure need to go ahead and lop those off. I'm probably going to be pulling the headers back off for that, which is no big deal because they're so small and they're so compact. The only other thing I'm going to be putting on today is, excuse the holly box, some Proform aluminum valve covers, and I really like the black and polished look that I've been getting out on this motor, so that's what I stuck with, is just that wrinkle black powder coat, I think is what they call it, with the polished letters and bow tie. And then it's also got a polished oil cap right here, which was supposed to have a bow tie on it, I thought, but it just says oil, which is kind of tacky, but whatever. And then right over here, I also have a Holley Sniper EFI conversion fuel tank, excuse me. I went ahead and got the 400 liter per hour kit because I definitely don't want any starvation issues for if I get ready to add like a Pro Charger or something like that. I don't want to have to go back into the fuel pump again. Granted that it lasts and doesn't go out anytime soon, which I don't think it will. It's definitely going to have plenty of fuel from the fuel pump for naturally aspirated purposes, which is what I'm going to be doing to start with. So I'm really not worried about that at all. I've also got some more parts coming in to help finish up the fuel system, because obviously this is just the tank, the pump, and the fuel level sender that's in this box here. And I've already pre-assembled that at my house because there's tons of YouTube how-tos on that already, and I didn't think really it was worth filming. But you guys will get to see it when I get ready to put it in, which probably won't be today because I have a lot of fittings and stuff I have to get put on there in order to run my EFI safe fuel line and everything like that. But nonetheless, the main goal I want to get to today is I really want to set this thing on the ground. I want to get it off the jack stands and just get the front end back on the ground, so that way I can see the engine in here with the new valve covers on. It looks hopefully a ton better. And really the only other thing, which is something I forgot, is my AC delete panel. I got rid of that whole external junky looking box, which is just right outside. That had to go for sure. It was really driving me nuts. Didn't work. I never would need it anyways. Anytime I'm ever riding in this car, the windows are down. And if the windows aren't down, there's so much airflow coming through the car to start with that it's just not that big of a deal. And it really doesn't bother me at all. But I'm going to quit rambling now. And the first thing I'm going to do is get down there and get the measuring and marking on that transmission. And I'm not going to be able to film that, I'm sure, because I cannot seem to keep up with that tripod to save my life. So, nonetheless, I am going to probably go ahead and cut that off, and then I'll show you guys like a before and after. Okay, so things kind of went unexpectedly okay. I mean, they weren't great. So I ended up having to drop the starter on this side, which is no big deal. It's really easy. And after I dropped it, I ended up realizing that I need to leave it off anyways so that I can get to the crankshaft timing sensor right here. It would be a pain trying to plug that up. Get you guys turned around here. It'd be a pain trying to get that plugged up with the starter on for sure, because it's tucked up next to the block pretty good too. So the craziest thing happened. So, okay, stupid phone view. Anyway, so on this side, I ended up having to cut, which really sucks, and it bummed me out because I started on the other side, which is the driver's side, and I didn't have to cut over there. It actually cleared barely. And this is super close to this transmission housing, but I'm not really worried about it because the only thing here is the torque converter, and the entire exhaust right here is shielded by the actual transmission case. So it can't get to the torque converter and get the torque converter really, really hot and get that fluid inside hot. That's the main thing I was worried about. It is really close to these lines, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to take these off at some point and reroute them because they are kind of routed, kind of crappy. And I also need to reroute my modulator valve as well. But both of the exhausts ended up turning out really, really good. Let me see if I can get a shot over there. Yeah, so as you can see right there, I didn't even have to cut that ear. And, you know, everything. I don't have the V-bands tight, obviously, because they're just going to have to come right back off when I get this to the exhaust shop so that they can extend it to my existing exhaust because I had long tube headers on my small block. But nonetheless, I did end up getting enough clearance to get the V-band in there. And once the V-band's tight and the collector is actually nice and straight and everything, or where the O2 bung and everything is, that it's going to come out perfect. That is one thing, one major thing that I was really worried about on this build that is checked off. I do hate that I had to cut that housing like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not really that worried about it. I've just kind of got these valve covers just sitting on there to keep the dust and crap out. So I'm fixing to take those off and throw the new valve covers on and then show you guys what those look like. And then really, I think I'm just about done for the day. There's not really anything else I can do until more parts come in. There's no point in me dropping the gas tank or anything like that right now because I gotta wait for all those fittings and the fuel line to get here before I can start hooking more stuff up. And then I also really need to wait until I get my wiring harness and intake kit and all here, along with my computer, so that way I can run all my wires to my fuel pump from my fuel pump relay, so that way, you know, everything's done. Whenever I bolt the gas tank in, I've got all my lines hooked up, all my wires hooked up, I've got power. So that way, whenever that's done, my fuel system will be complete, and I don't have to really worry about that anymore. So let me go ahead and snatch these off, and I'll throw the new ones on, and I'll show you guys what that looks like right now. Alright, you guys, so as you can see, I did manage to get those valve covers on, which was a lot more tedious than I think it should be, but nonetheless, they are on. And I also started installing my pulley system accessory mounting brackets, I guess is what they would be called. So all that is, it's made by ICT Billet, and it's going to be a mount here that a turnbuckle mounts to, and then the alternator will obviously be here, power steering pump over here, and I just mounted these two brackets here. And so all that is setting up and getting ready for the alternator and everything, which is on the way. I'm still waiting on all my fuel system parts to come in, which is no big deal really. Right after I got the valve covers on, I went on ahead and jumped under the car, and I tightened up all my motor support bolts and the torque converter bolts to the flywheel. Went on ahead and got all that situated and out of the way, so that's done. So this thing is really coming down to the wire. I've kind of got a deadline that I'm trying to make, and hopefully I am going to make it by then. Really, I think the main things I'm missing now, or that's not here, is my intake system and computer system. For the most part, though, the big things that I need to get done is fuel system and the computer system and intake system, which the intake system kind of ties in with the fuel system. So it's hard for me to start doing the fuel system without that being here, because I know, one, that the fuel pump relays and stuff is all tied in there, and there's no possible way I could put that fuel tank in and still be able to get in there and hook all the wires up for the fuel pump. So all that's got to wait. So I figured there's no point in doing anything with any of that until I get all that done, just to keep crap out of the fuel lines for the most part. But all that stuff is on order. As far as I know, that's really the only things I have left on the car. Fuel system, intake, computer, and finish up my accessory system, and then get all the water and stuff plumbed up, which I don't think will be that hard. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to use my old radiator hose that comes from the lower part of the water pump down to the bottom. I'm definitely gonna have to get a new top piece, because it's gonna have to be a lot longer, and it's gonna have to come off of here at a sharper angle. But I don't think that's gonna be too big of a deal. There's a lot of companies that's making all that stuff now. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Did manage to get some stuff done, and if you did like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see some more. And well, definitely subscribe, because we're going to be wrapping this thing up, and we're going to see what this cam really sounds like here in just a couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see y'all in the next one.